Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM 24 Yeti episode number 149. This is the series finale, and this is something we haven't done throughout this series because our focus has been on our team and growing the pool, the snowball of nations available to us. And so we've never had one nation that has been a key piece. So we've been skipping World Championships. But here we are with Denmark, with Mikkel Bjerg. Bjerg's pretty dang good. And through the first time check, he was first. Through the second time check, a little bit weaker at second place, but I definitely feel like I've figured out the balance that will set him up. Now, as we proceed with this one and Vingegaard as the focal point of this race, quick note that I tested things and things were fine, but my microphone quit working today, and a little reset got it working again. But I'm re-recording the voiceover with this one, so it's always a little different when I play through it, and it'll be a little more sped up as well. So Vingegaard, as he's gone through the first time check in first place, he's got a +1 to his race day condition, but that does give him +2 to time trial. And at 51 kilometers for this World Championship, it is a very, very long time trial. And with a good rating, it definitely gets you up there amongst the favorites when he's already amongst them. But it's such a long distance that all you have to do is keep it really balanced. And I think you could beat the AI here. And so through that first time check, Vingegaard already ahead. There's only one climb on the day, and we hit it at a steady tempo. It's not a major climb, so you don't have to save it all for that climb. You just need to be steady. And so as we go through the second time check, still first place by over a minute. There's still a few riders after me, though, as again, we were not the favorite. And so as we approach the line and use the last ounce of our energy, we hit the line a minute and a half ahead of everybody else. Blum, not in par. Either are these other guys. Koch, he's top 10, but barely. Filippo Ganna is the real threat, and he only manages fourth place. So that is a world championship with a team that's not our own. But it's a world championship. It's amazing just how easy it is to do something once you have the riders capable. Just how easy. And that's why I play the game with a challenge. Because the moment I have those riders, wins are just so easy to come by. Well, anyway, we're going to continue on with our journey for the World Championships. And as we start out again with Denmark, we have 3 riders that have gone up the road to form the breakaway early on in this one. And we have a circuit, 9 climbs. 9 climbs that we're going to hit again and again. That's the top of the first. Pace, nothing bad right now. But the team, DOA. Most of them, anyway. Dead on arrival. Race day condition, horrible. The rider that has made me responsible for Denmark is Sorensen. And Sorensen, he's got a -5. He is still super fatigued from La Vuelta. And it shows. It shows here. He is so tired. As are half of the guys around him. But we skip forward, and that breakaway, who got out to 8 minutes, is down to 3 now. But we still have the whole peloton here. We're down to 3 climbs. I've got things sped up now as we push forward. And this happens. 4 riders, more than half of our team, go down. The good news, 3 out of the 4 are domestiques for the day. That's the best part of what's just happened here. We do have some riders around us, but we cannot rely on them to get us forward. I'm going to have to take these 4 guys and sort this out. So using the best flat-rated, weakest climber of the bunch, burn his energy, let the other 3 just ride the coattails, and we're back in contact here pretty quickly. But right at the base of the climb, when the race is intensifying, we only had 2 minutes to the breakaway, and within a few kilometers, it's down to 2 guys off the front, 30 seconds, 50 seconds ahead. And we're going to have to change things out. For one, a couple of guys going backwards real quick because of the tempo that we're up front, not caught up in the wreck. We've helped them conserve energy, but we got to make sure we catch on. Biscard, who's been leading that chase going back, I'm going to have him go get water one final time for the day, and everybody else working their way back up towards the front. and Sorensen's already got us there. So we now have 2 flat sections, 2 climbs, 2 descents, and then just that short little flat section towards the finish. For now, we're going to just hang on to position. The guys are already in order. I might as well leave them here because I do want to turn the screw and be aggressive as we hit the base of the climb now with 46 kilometers still to go. Sorensen, he's done. We get him out of the line. Biscard's still leading it out, pushing him up to an 89, pushing on a little bit harder here. For now, others are setting a good tempo. This is more about keeping something steady for the back 3 to 4 guys, not overworking them. And Biscard's done, so we're going to have to move on to Bjerg. And Bjerg's already out of red bar, so we're just going to go max speed with him, as you can only go so fast without that red bar. We're about to hit the top anyway. And it looks like it's a good time, because there is Vatsek, Rubio, Ayuso, and Pogacar on the attack. So instead of having to respond with leaders, we're able to respond with, well, domestiques. Bjerg pulls us back in contact. Those guys have not got away. Meanwhile, Peloton's down to 100 riders, give or take. Only one more climb, though. Only one more climb. Now, Skelmos is at the back, helping break toe, potentially, on others. Bjerg, still no red bar. Running pretty low on that energy, and this is not a hardcore descent. So, it's still costing him some energy to push at a 99. He's now out of energy, which is allowing others to overtake us, but he's not going so slow that we're drifting backwards. So I'm going to leave him kind of in charge for a little bit. Now we move on to Kron, following behind, and in fact just holding position, waiting for the climb to be the aggressor once again. So Kron, we've already used his gel, and the guys behind are looking good, but really it's 4 guys. And Albert Philipsen of the 4, as it's looking unlikely that this is going to really break down into a much smaller group. There's still 94 riders here. I have a feeling it's going to come down to a sprint in those final kilometers, and Philipsen's the best sprinter of the 4, so we've gone ahead and dropped him from 2nd wheel to 4th wheel, and Kron continuing to do that work as here come the attacks once again. And you guys are already out front. That's 5 guys going clear, and Kron at a 91 is losing ground pretty rapidly, meaning those guys are going real hard, really going for it. And that is Kron out of energy on to Jeppesen. I'm looking at a small screen right now, watching the replay of things. Anyway, still 5 riders up the road as we pull back the other 2 that tried to escape just recently. They were a little too late to get off front and unsuccessful. Jeppesen nearly out of energy, and then we're going to be on to our final 2 with Vingegaard now taking over, not going crazy. These guys ahead of us are pretty much in check. We're down to 56 chasing, but that's still a sizable group. But Philipsen hanging in there. He doesn't have a ton of energy, but we have crested. We've got 16k to go, and a lot of this is downhill. Archie Ryan doing a lot of the chasing right now, doing us a solid. We're not the only ones actually doing the work for a rare change, but the 5 guys are still away. However, it's only half a minute to Pogacar and 4 guys in between. Right now, you got to make him the favorite, but at half a minute, we've got a real shot to catch him, especially when the descent is not steep. Does require some riding, and you can see we are now starting to pull these guys back. Vingegaard's out of energy, though, and we are down to Philipsen. So Vingegaard getting left behind, and Philipsen doesn't have a lot of energy himself. Continuing on now, Philipsen just holding position. The last rider away is Pogacar, but it's only 9 seconds. There's a good chance we're going to catch him. Let's try to get Vingegaard, who's starting to recover just a little bit, up on the wheel of Philipsen. Maybe, just maybe, he can give us some support. But here comes another attack, and Pogacar's caught. 48 riders to finish this thing off. Philipsen has got that little bit of energy, especially now that we've sat on for a little bit, and Vingegaard's made it back up here. Does not have much, but we're going to run the switcheroo so Vingegaard can at least give us a little bit of a lead out for Philipsen. 94 and starting to pull forward. We are about 10th wheel right now. 3k left to go. 2 riders are off the front. We did have a secondary attack, and Pogacar went with him again. And right now it's looking pretty dang bad on trying to catch them, but at 2k, Pogacar was riding the wheel conserving energy, giving us a real shot. So Phillipson, he's going to go for the attack. The last of his energy expended right before the line. And we're going to claim victory. World champions in the time trial and the road race. Albert Phillipson claiming the win. Very much not the favorite. It's not Jasper. It's Albert. It's not Vingegaard. It's Phillipson. But it is a victory. You get quality riders. Victories seem a lot easier to come by. And this brings us into the final race of the year. Final race of the series. Final monument. The Lombardia. Tough race. A lot of climbing. Super long distance. Very aggressive here early on. Number of riders trying to get into the break. And our race day condition is okay. All 7 riders have this as their final objective of the year. We've had some decent preparation. Sorensen, even though it's a couple weeks after the World Championships, is still exhausted. He has not recovered from that, but he's got a +2 race day condition, so it's only a -3 today. And now we are at 3 riders away, but more still attacking as we are already approaching the first climb. In addition to Sorensen, Ortiz has a -3 draw. He only had a +1. He's not on the objective. All right, he's on the objective, but he's not on a fitness peak or anything, so he only got a simple +1. Most of the guys actually made it to a fitness peak, and they have +3s, +4s on their expected, and roughly have that. A couple +5s for us. But as we settle into a breakaway of 8 riders, for now, 4 minutes up the road, we will speed things up. But Haddad, Sorensen, Ortiz, they're going to be the domestiques for the day. Vatsek, unfortunately, only has a +1. That's a -2 draw compared to what he was supposed to have. It's going to make him a little bit weaker. He's our best sprinter, but this is a kind of race that's not necessarily going to finish on a sprint. So it could come down to the climbing, which means Bammer, Tadome, Lindqvist could be the leaders on this one. For now, break out to 6.5 minutes. Now 7+, still growing as we go into climb number 2. Cruising along at a 75, everything seems comfortable for the time being. Front group splitting up a little bit. They have pulled out to 8+ minutes, but now it seems to have stabilized as we go forward. In fact, it's back under 8 for now, so that seems to be where the field wants to hold them at. And we skip forward into the final about 70 kilometers or so, the last bigger climb of the day. And that breakaway down to just a 2-minute advantage, and we've pushed hard enough from really after that saddle section, that highest elevation of the day. The push started. We've been chasing that group down for a long time. They are very close to exhausted now, and within the peloton itself, even though there hasn't been that much undulation over the last 100 kilometers or so, it's been enough to do some pretty serious damage. You can see that Tadome and Vatsek on this climb, as much as we're trying to conserve energy. Yeah, they're pretty close to going out the back, especially when the peloton just split in half moments ago. There's now just 89 riders left, so I'm going to have to intentionally speed these guys up. Sorensen, one of those domestiques, he's very close to getting exhausted and going out the back, but we got to make sure that Vatsek and Tadome do not go out the back with him. So they ride on a little bit harder as we go and crest through the first part of the climb. It's going to flatten out for a little bit, and then we climb again. So here is Sorensen, and he is out of energy, about to get dropped. That is another group of riders gone out of contention. Suddenly there's just 77 left in the peloton, and the handful of riders that are still off the front, their gap is so small and the chase has been so hard that they are not a threat at all. One of these 77 will win this race. But Vatsek, with only a +1 and his climbing ability not being that great to begin with, he's not our guy today. So he's now a domestique. He's going to get the water for us the one final time as we head up the secondary portion, the shorter, but definitely hits you hard portion of this climb, because Luke Ortiz is also about to go out the back and does so. And now, with the front riders caught, we're already down to just 68, 61 as it continues to shrink. Now, we're going to get a little recovery here over the next little bit, down to 60. Vatsek should finish the water task fairly soon, and we are down to 5 guys. All looking fairly good. All 5 guys looking fairly good at this point. And we're getting our first attack of some classic style riders, high Barador rating riders. And we're now at 36. For now, not having a counter. Luckily, there's enough riders in other teams that are going with them. But for the moment, this is looking pretty dangerous. You got about 9 guys attacking and no sign of response. It's earlier than I wanted to go. I was waiting for the final 3 climbs to do something, but I feel like I must do something right here, right now, if we are going to make the chase happen. So Haddad and Vatsek, the domestiques, are going to do the work. Then we're going to go with Tadome, trying to decide between Lindqvist and Bammert here. And we're going to go with Bammert, and actually with the pace and acceleration punchiness, we're going to go with Bammert and Tadome at the back. Lindqvist actually to do the work for them, even though he's a little bit stronger climber. And yeah, there's a few guys starting to pull forward, so but it still seems like maybe more attacks. So for the moment, Haddad riding, but not riding too hard. There is a chase. 7 ended up getting away. The chase, just shy of 50. And as we drop a couple riders and catch that front group and a few more get dropped, we're down to 46 left in contention, and we're going to crest. We're not going to turn to the right and continue up. We're going to go left, go downhill. 3 climbs left. Haddad still doing the work, still putting us in position. We're fairly well lined up behind. Tadome, Bammert, Lindqvist still looking pretty good, but Haddad and Vatsek, not so much, and we still have close to 30k to go. We definitely don't want to be doing the work on the flat. Haddad's more useful as a climber. He's got a terrible flat rating, and we begin to climb. 3 to go. Haddad. We do want to push fairly hard through here, and we're not even pushing the hardest. Björk, actually, doing that work. We just used him for Denmark, and now he's riding for UAE. Haddad nearly out of energy. We're going to be shifting on to Vatsek. Björk also out of energy, and Vatsek's going to put the field under some pressure that Björk was unable to continue on and finish with, and we're already down to less than 40 now as we crest with Vatsek. Vatsek about to run out of energy, has run out of energy really, but we'll use him continually on the descent to keep the pressure on. He'll get a small amount of recovery. For the moment anyway, we've split it down to 15, but as it comes back together, it's actually 32 now. So definitely a shrunken group, and Vatsek keeping high tempo, not allowing others to get back in contention. 2 climbs to go. The hardest of the 2 is next. Vatsek obviously is going to be done here in just a moment, so we're going to be ready to take over with Lindqvist, and before we even hit the climb, he's going to take over. Vatsek, though, meanwhile, has succeeded in dropping another 10 riders. Just 22 left in contention. This climb's going to be hard, though. 4.5k, almost 10%. And we're seeing a huge attack. Lindqvist, riding at a 90, is not keeping up with those guys at all. That attack was so hard that half of the riders end up getting dropped by the attack, and we immediately reel them in. But 5 got away, and now just 11 remain in the chase. One of these 16 will win this race. Lindqvist out of red bar, so push on to that 99, give that maximum effort you can give without it. He's still got a little bit left in the tank, but real problem starting to emerge. Tadome nearly out of energy. Bammert, not much left. If Tadome goes ahead of Bammert, Tadome can give us a little bit of protection, and so I swap him. Bammert slows down. Tadome can't figure out whether he should go left or go right, so he goes neither. Bammert slows down and Tadome stays behind him. Absolutely derails our race because Tadome gets ahead for just a moment now. Bammert has to go solo, and he's lost contact. He's got to chase it down on his own. And Lindqvist, meanwhile, is nearly out of energy himself. Obviously, I sat up immediately, so he wasn't riding, but Bammert's solo ride here is just not happening. He's not recovering that ground, and as we go over the top, there's 1 climb to go. There's 4 at the front from that initial break that split down to 5. 4 held on, and then the chase group of 11 is down to 4, and then Bammert, the next man behind, riding 9th wheel on the road. Now, Bammert has recovered a little bit better than Lindqvist over the climb, so he's still not out of this thing yet. Lindqvist just trying to hang on to the back of that group, make them do the work, and chase, but right now it looks like we are riding for no better than 5th place. And at that point, Lindqvist and Bammert are both looking really weak. The Tadome thing hurt. That really hurt. But even without it, I think Bammert's still only right there with Lindqvist, with a little bit of energy left, just a little bit. But Lindqvist is dropped. We catch Ucha Brooks from the front group, and it's down to 2 there, Berhe and McNulty, and then whatever's left of the front group of 4. And as we go to crest the final climb, those guys are getting really close to the finish line now. So that front group of 4, and you got to believe that it's going to be a Pogačar type win, right? Seems pretty dang obvious. Set up well for it. He was amongst the 4 that got away. But Bammert and Lindqvist are together at least, but Bammert is a little more tired than Lindqvist at this point. So even though Bammert is a better sprint option, Lindqvist has energy, so we'll just ride for him and push on. And here comes that final push, and of course it is Pogačar who wins the race. Lenny Martinez takes second place. We push on for the line, now onto the flat, final kilometer. Bammert leading out for Lindqvist. Del Toro takes third, McNulty fourth, Berhe fifth, and we're going to get a 6-7 with Lindqvist and Bammert leaving Ucha Brooks behind to take 8th place. Good result, not the win. Even if the Tadome thing doesn't happen, we're not catching that front 4 or front 3 that it ended up being at the end. We are riding for no better than 4th place, even if that Tadome thing doesn't happen. We were in a chase group that was not covering the gap. But moving forward a week, getting to some final results for the season, Vácek had been 4th. But he slips down to 5th place as Lenny Martinez, who just grabbed a really strong 2nd place result at Lombardia, moves onto the podium, gets 3rd place behind Pogačar and Vingegaard. Jasper Philipsen was the one who was in 4th, not Albert. But we get 5th place, and as a team, more importantly, we get 3rd by 1 point over Visma. But that is a really good result. Why? Because all we did this season was take a back step and get our hands off. We did not race much at all. We raced 5+1 monuments. We raced 3 Grand Tours. And we raced World Championships. We got 0 points for the World Championships, and we got far less points by simming all the other races through the year. So without that direct control, to still get a top 3 is really good. And as a team, we're 9th in the index for next year. So even though we are losing some of our guys, we are progressing. And while we did progress and we made World Tour this year, we barely made World Tour. We were, 14th, 15th on the index? 9th for next year. It's another step in that right direction if there were a next year. But what are we relying on? Guys like Lind, Palmer, Sorensen. Sorensen's good. He's a climber. Palmer's a time trialist. Lind, Barrador flat rated. Sorensen can climb, but he's still only got a 78 mountain and 77 medium mountain. Vasilevsky, raw pace. He's got a flat 77, but he's got an 80 for sprint. Still nowhere near what others have, and he doesn't have stamina. He can't climb. Lindqvist, okay, yes, he can climb. He's got an 80. But what does he have to go with it? Shaw, just leveled up. 79 sprint, 80 acceleration, but that's still just raw pace. He doesn't have anything else to go with it. Young, he's got some raw pace, 79, but no acceleration. Bammert, medium mountain, 81. That's solid. But not a great pure climber, not punchy, no acceleration to help with it. Tadome, mountain, medium mountain, some stamina. He's a good support climber. What's missing? Vácek. Vácek's not even on our list of top riders anymore. Here, he finally comes in. Our best rider. Our most well-rounded by far. Good time trialist. That's actually all. It's just that he has a combination of flat, of mountain, of time trial, of cobble rating, of a little bit of a sprint, of stamina, of recovery, of it's everything. It's a little bit of everything. That alone should not have him winning so many races. Good breakaway type rider. But we pulled multiple podiums at Grand Tours with that. Imagine what we could have done if we had Haglund these last year or two, or Vingegaard, or Pogačar. Like, we would be crushing the field with those guys. But here's some end of series numbers for you. 51 nations saw an increase in their popularity or their training ratings. Overall, 151 points were divvied up amongst those 51 nations, or roughly 3 points per nation. I don't know the exact number of how much I had to do with that increase, those 151 points, or those specific 51 nations, but we did more than half of those numbers, or about half of those numbers. But what I do know from the data I did track is that I had 49 successful snowball opportunities where we unlocked either a group or an individual nation within the pool. And there was only 2 further that we did not unlock. 2 nations. That was it. Belgium, Italy. Every other nation is unlocked and available. We can sign any rider we want. Budget, the only factor right now. The budget's a hell of a lot better than it was. And would we have a couple expiring contracts over the next couple of years from guys that we had to sign for about double the amount that we would have otherwise? We could go even further with that budget. And of course, as it continues to grow, you can go further with that budget. From those 49 actions, there's another thing that I really wanted to get into. The individual riders. Who was our MVP? Well, first off, those actions. Those snowballing actions. There was 3 riders that stood out with the most snowballing actions. But then there was a group tied for 4th. Here's that group. And tied at 3 snowballing actions each. The surprises? Jouet, Harasim. 3 each. Another surprise, but not for a good reason, but kind of a bad reason because he was with the team so long and seen as a leader and seen as a huge signing when we brought him in. And on paper is our number 1 guy on the team, 5.5 star rated. Lind. 3 snowballing actions in many seasons. But you know what the biggest surprise is on that list? Hagland. Major rider for the team. Now, for one, he only had a 3-year contract and we couldn't afford to retain him. So he was only with the team for 3 years. And he developed from nothing. So he didn't do anything initially. But when he did come along and become a huge rider and the best GC hope that we had on the roster, better than Vacek, on paper, significantly better than Vacek. 3 snowballing actions is all he amassed. Now, here's another factor with that, though. Hagland did not have the team support that Vacek has had. And with team support, we've been able to be more aggressive with Vacek and go out and try to get wins. And wins we've got. But with Hagland, he didn't have the team support, so it was hanging on by a thread. Hanging on. He had individual quality, but we could not give him support he needed. So he got a lot of good results, but he only snowballed those 3 times. Now, moving into the top 3, though, Hagland, for that reason, a lot of people would argue that maybe he should be the MVP. But because he only got the 3 snowball actions, I think that has to exclude him from the list. So the first candidate at number 3 on the list, with 5 wins, Red Walters. Now, Walters does not have a lot of quality as a rider, and I think that's going to exclude him from this list, and especially because he's not number 1 in the win column. But Red Walters was massive. He unlocked so many nations for us with those 5 actions that got us going. He had the bulk of the early victories that expanded the pool, that allowed us to go out to get riders like Hagland. And the next guy on the list, Derek G. Derek G ends up 2nd with 6. Definite contender for MVP, especially when we added one key component to this. His first snowballing action happened way back in episode 41. His latest snowballing action, episode 107. It's the range, the longevity, and the number of victories he was able to pull despite not being well rated. He's Vacek with weaker ratings. 6 snowballing actions is a lot, and he was great. Now, of course, in real life, Derek G has turned into quite a solid rider and a contender in 4GC at Grand Tours. The rider we have here, as he entered the database, did not have that type of potential. And so we got him as a much weaker rider overall, 73 Mountain. Not capable of going out and competing at GC level. But really solid results nonetheless. Definite contender for MVP. However, number one on the list is number one by a country mile. She had 6 snowballing actions. Vatsek, 12. 12 actions for Vatsek. And multiple podiums in Grand Tours. Pretty dang obvious. Easy choice. MVP for the series, Matthias Vatsek. That is going to do it for this series, though. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with me through this journey. I know that we've got a little bit of a delay on PCM 25, and it's going to be a little bit more as I do need a little bit of a break. However, I am going to fairly soon pick it up, get some action in, and then start making some tutorials when I have some time. My busiest time of summer is the daycare program. It's tomorrow. It's the time that you're watching this video. And so that is something that involves a lot of time and prep, but I will have time after that. So I'm going to get myself a little bit of a break. Vacations are nice, but when you do a lot, sometimes you need a vacation from your vacation. And I came back to a heavy workload. Next week's going to be my rest portion, and then we'll see where I'm at shortly thereafter. A series will come for PCM 25, but it's not going to be 149 episodes. It's going to be much on the shorter side, a third probably at most. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for being here. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.